Imagine a life where you are told you're gravely sick, yet you feel perfectly fine. This was the reality for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Gypsy's early years were a bewildering maze of medical appointments, prescriptions, and surgeries, all orchestrated by her mother, Dee Dee. Gypsy was told she had everything from leukemia to muscular dystrophy, even though she felt healthy. Dee Dee's control was absolute. She convinced everyone that Gypsy needed a wheelchair, despite Gypsy's ability to walk. She insisted Gypsy was fed through a tube because she couldn't eat by herself, even though Gypsy felt no such impediment. This bizarre world of pretend illnesses and unnecessary treatments was the only life Gypsy knew. Yet, as she transitioned from a child into a young woman, Gypsy began to notice the stark contrast between her mother's claims and her own feelings of health. But as Gypsy grew older, she started to question her mother's narrative. The world Gypsy lived in started to crumble as she discovered the unimaginable truth. Deception, a twisted love, and a desperate desire for freedom became the threads that wove the tapestry of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's life. As Gypsy grew older, she began to question the narrative her mother Dee Dee had been spinning for years. She learned that she wasn't as sick as her mother had made her believe. The wheelchair, the medical procedures, the endless medications, all were part of a grand deceit. This realization sparked a fire in Gypsy, a fire that yearned for liberation from the shackles of her mother's lies. Her quest for freedom led her to the digital world, a place where she could be whoever she wanted to be. It was here she met Nicholas Gaudejon, a young man who would become her accomplice in a plan so drastic it would send shockwaves through the nation. Their relationship, born out of a shared sense of isolation, quickly turned into a deep connection. As their bond strengthened, so did their resolve to escape the life Gypsy was trapped in. They hatched a plan that was as tragic as it was desperate. Their objective? To kill Dee Dee and finally break free from the prison of deceit she had meticulously constructed. Gypsy, who had lived her life as a victim, was now ready to take control of her destiny, regardless of the cost. Their plot was not born out of malice, but out of desperation. A desperation so intense it blurred the lines between right and wrong. They saw no other way out, no other path to freedom. It was a plan born out of a need to survive, to live a life that was truly their own. In a desperate bid for freedom, Gypsy and Nicholas carried out their plan, forever changing their lives. The world they knew was about to be shattered, and a new uncertain future awaited them. But in their hearts, they believed it was a price worth paying for the taste of freedom. In the wake of Dee Dee's death, a shocking story of deception and abuse began to unfold. The aftershocks of the murder rippled through the community and the nation, leaving in its wake a baffling tale of a mother and daughter locked in a twisted relationship. The investigation into Dee Dee's death quickly led authorities to Gypsy Rose and her boyfriend, Nicholas Gaudejon. An arrest was made, and the startling truth began to emerge from the shadows. Gypsy was not the sickly childlike figure that Dee Dee had portrayed her to be. Instead, she was a young woman trapped in a web of lies and manipulation, desperate for freedom. As the details of the case came to light, the public was left grappling with a complex narrative. On one hand, Gypsy was a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, subjected to unnecessary medical procedures and medications, and robbed of a normal childhood. On the other hand, she was an accomplice in a brutal murder. The dichotomy of Gypsy's situation sparked debates and discussions, forcing society to confront uncomfortable truths about abuse and its consequences. Behind bars, Gypsy's life took a stark turn. Gone were the days of unnecessary medical treatments and the stifling control of her mother. Instead, she was left to navigate the realities of prison life, a harsh but in some ways liberating experience. In interviews, Gypsy has spoken candidly about her past, expressing regret for her actions, but also relief at being free from her mother's oppressive control. She's also used her time in prison to educate herself, earning her high school equivalency diploma, and has expressed a desire to help others who may be suffering from abuse. Despite her confinement, Gypsy has found a certain degree of freedom and autonomy that was never afforded to her in her previous life. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a victim turned perpetrator, serves as a chilling reminder of the dark side of human nature and the lengths one might go to escape it. Her story continues to resonate, A haunting tale that underscores the complexity of abuse and the human capacity for survival.